1010. To avoid a possible collision with a manned airplane, you estimate that your small, unmanned aircraft climb to an altitude greater than 600 feet AGL. To whom must you report the deviation? A. Upon request of the Federal Aviation Administration. B. The National Transportation Safety Board. C. Air Traffic Control. The correct answer is A. According to 14 CFR Part 107, if a remote pilot in command experiences a deviation from any Part 107 regulation, they must report it to the FAA upon request. In this case, if the small, unmanned aircraft climbed to an altitude greater than 600 feet AGL to avoid a possible collision with a manned aircraft, it would be considered a deviation from Part 107 regulations, and the remote pilot in command would be required to report it to the FAA upon request. Reporting such deviations can help the FAA identify potential safety risks and take appropriate actions to mitigate them in the future. 1011. When an ATC clearance has been obtained, no remote PIC may deviate from that clearance, unless that pilot obtains an amended clearance. The one exception to this regulation is A. When the clearance states, at pilot's discretion. B. An emergency. C. If the clearance contains a restriction. The correct answer is B. According to 14 CFR Part 107.205, a remote pilot must comply with all ATC clearances and instructions, unless they have an emergency situation that requires immediate action to ensure the safety of the aircraft. In such cases, the remote pilot can deviate from the clearance to the extent necessary to address the emergency. However, the remote pilot must notify ATC as soon as practicable about the deviation and the reason for it. 1342. 14 CFR Part 107 applies to A. Public sUAS. B. Civil sUAS. C. All sUAS. The correct answer is B. For CFR Part 107 applies to civil small unmanned aircraft systems, sUAS, that weigh less than 55 pounds and are used for non-hobbyist purposes, such as commercial or business purposes. Public sUAS, which are used by government entities such as law enforcement or firefighting, may be subject to other regulations, while hobbyist operations are subject to a different set of guidelines under 14 CFR Part 48. 1012. Which of the following individuals may process an application for a Part 107 remote pilot certificate with an sUAS rating? A. Commercial balloon pilot. B. Remote pilot in command. C. Designated pilot examiner. The correct answer is C. Designated pilot examiners, DPEs, are authorized by the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, to conduct testing and issue certificates to eligible applicants. They are responsible for evaluating the knowledge and skills of pilot applicants and determining whether they meet the standards set forth in the regulations. Therefore, DPEs are authorized to process applications for Part 107 remote pilot certificates with an sUAS rating. 1013. After receiving a Part 107 remote pilot certificate with an sUAS rating, how often must you satisfy recurrent training requirements? A. Every 6 months. B. Every 12 months. C. Every 24 months. The correct answer is C. According to 14 CFR Part 107, remote pilots with an sUAS rating must complete a recurrent training course every 24 calendar months. This training can be completed through an online training course, testing center, or by completing another initial training course. It is important for remote pilots to complete this training to ensure that they remain knowledgeable about the latest regulations, procedures, and safety protocols related to sUAS operations.